We begin tonight with a look into a story we first told you about back in October. Now, a media investigation digs deep into why the Georgia National Guard's Youth Challenge Academy at Fort Gordon shut its doors and who leaders say is to blame. Here's that story.
So one person had gotten into a fight, then the whole other platoon started fighting at the same time.
We first shared news of the massive fight that broke out at and ultimately shut down Youth Challenge Academy at Fort Gordon back in October. That's when we sat down with Michael Jordan and his mother, who returned from what should have been a 5-month program 4 days later.
Then my sergeant ran out there and all of us followed him to the fight. And then that's when we seen everybody getting poked up and stabbing, and my sergeant got knocked out.
Jordan experienced what we now know as a brawl involving 70 teenagers enrolled as cadets at the boot camp. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution investigated that incident, speaking with more than a dozen parents and their kids and leaders of that program. What they found was parents claiming that the issue stemmed from rival gang affiliations. The problem led to reports of kids making weapons, metal shanks, crudely sharpened toothbrushes, and tube socks filled with metal padlocks. The investigation also reports a second riot happened the next day with more than 24 teens. That event shut the program down and all 170 cadets went home and were barred from Fort Gordon for 1 year. The AJC digs into the cause and points to leaders poorly screening cadets in order to meet a new enrollment quota last fall. The article claims the small staff was forced to deal with high-risk candidates because they failed to screen for behavioral and mental health challenges. News Channel 6 reached out to the Georgia National Guard for answers about the article. In a lengthy statement, a spokesperson points to its cadets from Class 44 as to why this happened, saying violence in some Georgia schools has increased 200%, and we are not immune from this trend. The spokesperson described the brawl, saying several cadets were sent to the hospital and no cadets offered any information to describe the incident. The response? Barment letters issued to the entire class, which was deemed a growing risk and to ensure safety. They add, the YCA is dedicated to help our troubled youth, and we cannot run an at-risk youth program at zero risk. The Georgia National Guard spokespersons declined to speak further on the matter for this story. But we did learn from the Georgia Youth Challenge Program's website that the show is going on. An information session is scheduled online for Thursday afternoon, with more scheduled for this month and the coming months.